Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Star Flames, and we're back with another video on Sean Diddy Combs. As you guys know, providing that you have been keeping up with my channel, you would know that Sean Diddy Combs skate on the most serious charges. So they were only able to convict him on 2 of 5 charges. You know, the racketeering that everyone was arguing that they cannot see the connection of racketeering. Yes, he escaped that one because, as you guys know, from the beginning, I'm saying I can't see the connection of racketeering. Now, at one point in time, they were leading into that territory, and it gave a sense that they were very close to it. They were about to get it. However, it did not happen. The racketeering could not be proven. And I think that many people are disappointed that they could not prove the sex trafficking either, because there was some amount of consent to what Cassie and Miss J. Doe did. However, they were able to get him on, prostitution and the transportation for prostitution, the flight logs, the payments, and all of that. When the verdict was read in the court, Diddy was so grateful. He fell to his knees and he was there thanking God, thanking God, all the black magic and everything that he did work. His family was outside the courtroom cheering on, and he was like, I'm going to come home, because they believe now, because he was not found guilty on most of the charges, okay, that would put him in a good position for bail. However, we know that Sean Diddy Combs' takedown, it's been orchestrated, and I believe that, inside my heart, I can't prove this, so I'm going to say allegedly. I believe that there were some many games that was played behind the scenes that we don't know about, because as you guys can see, the prosecutors, they intentionally kept away from some celebrities that were mentioned. And I believe that if you were really exploring racketeering, you would go into the territories of all the other people who were mentioned. Also, it's kind of sad not hearing anything as it relates to the Kid Cudi's incident, the bombing of his car. Well, we can question that. What about the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark, the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark? Why did that slide? Why did breaking and entering into Kid Cudi's house slide? Those little things still has us questioning a lot, So it seems as though, I don't know, this is just my opinion. It seems as though the prosecutors, they were guided on how to proceed. This case was about disciplining Diddy because he was out of line, and there was some amount of that they all were able to achieve. Now, as it relates to Sean Diddy Combs and his family, they were celebrating because he was only convicted on 2 of 5 charges. So naturally, they thought that he was going to get out on bail until his sentencing. However, that's not the case, because while his attorney, had argued that, he should be eligible for bail and all of that jazz, the judge is saying that Diddy has proven to be a danger to society, and there's nothing that indicates that he's not a flight risk. So as such, the judge denied the bail. But what his attorney did is the attorney tried to do an emotional appeal to the judge, noting that Diddy's kids are in the courtroom. His twin daughters have already lost their mom, Kim Porter. However, the judge wasn't swayed, because if you understand legalities, decisions are not made based on emotions. All of the emotions has to be set aside. So as such, his taste that he was hoping for freedom, it was immediately taken. the judge was like, no, you will not be let out on bail. You're going to continue remaining behind bars until the date of sentencing, which is October 3rd of this year, 2025. So the judge is saying there's no way Diddy can prove that he's not a threat to anyone or community due to his abusive actions towards Cassie as seen in the Intercontinental video. And Diddy's lawyer's own words, the judge began quoting defense attorney's statements from prior days in court owning up to Diddy's domestic violence. Prosecutors are asking for a minimum of 51 months. So that's somewhere about 4.5 years in prison. Diddy has so far been jailed for 10 and will be credited for the time served when he's sentenced. So if he's sentenced for 4 years, they're going to minus the 10 months that is already served behind bars from that. So he's going to do like 3 years and 2 months, which is still a very short time. And it goes to show that this is why oftentimes, victims do not come forward because people are just scared that these people like Diddy are never ever truly held accountable. Now, Cassie's attorney, Douglas Whitdoor, he had sent a letter to the court asking the judge not to release Diddy following the verdict. In the letter, he pointed out to a section of a Bail Reform Act that says detention is mandatory after being convicted of certain charges. Victor also says that Cassie believed Diddy could still be a threat to victims who testified, including herself and the community. I definitely believe he is still a threat because what he's proven is that he can still get to have his own way, because how they basically went about this case and how he escaped some of those charges, it's given the sense that he still has power. He had manipulated a lot of things, which I believe a lot of things were manipulated during this trial. Again, Rotten Mango has pointed out quite a few things, like him having that book in court. And it's as though he was doing something weird in that book, and then he had like a piece of jewelry or some kind of stone, as though there was some witchcraft going on during each court session. Now, in his efforts to secure bail, they had offered $1 million bond, and he agreed that he would have no contact with any escort of the sort. However, naturally, it didn't work the first time around, and, again, it was not going to work. No, a lot of people who were silent while Diddy was on trial and arrested and all of that, many of them have been coming out in the woodworks to now celebrate his legal victory. And it goes to show just how hypocritical people can be. You never know who you're surrounded by. And this is oftentimes why people do take caution to a lot of things. They are very cautious on the things they say during these trials, because it seems as though these people were aware of something that the rest of the world was not aware of. But I guess it now shows that Diddy is definitely a man who has power, connection, and consistently gets to have his way. Because even though he has been found guilty on some of the charges, it is only due to overwhelming evidence, and how the other connections, avoided being caught up in all of this. It is given very suspicious, in my opinion, as we have suspected from day numero uno that Diddy was a target, and a lot of people who play their hands in all of this would have been able to escape accountability. But that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. Stay tuned because I'm going to come back and we are going to talk about how, other celebrities have been responding to the verdict on this, celebrating it when all this time they've been quiet. And this is all you just can't trust people. Okay? Now, this is all I have to share for now. Stay tuned, thumbs up, like, do all you need to do on this video to support your girl. Peace.